Hi, my name is Jeffrey Basara, and I will be providing the year one accomplishments and year two plans for the subseasonal to seasonal focus area as part of the S3OK project. Again, what is S2S? S2S is not specifically an individual weather event, but really how weather evolves in the weekly to bi-weekly to several month time span. And it's important because this is an area that we have somewhat limited predictability, especially compared to overall weather and climate processes. But a lot of processes that are important to the state of Oklahoma evolve and develop in this region. And that includes drought and long-term excessive precipitation, long-term patterns of severe weather. We see it with heat waves. We also have seen it in 2021 with excessive and unseasonably cold conditions. And what we want to do in terms of S2S and in terms of this focus area is understand the processes, increase our predictability, and then understand how all of this plays into the bigger role of the social dynamics and the infrastructure and the carbon and water dynamics of the state of Oklahoma. So we have a team, and our team, I'm the focus area lead, but it also includes Dr. Jason Furtado, Dr. Eleanor Martin from the School of Meteorology at the University of Oklahoma, Dr. Yuting Zhao from the Department of Geography at Oklahoma State, and our liaison to the social dynamics team, Dr. Joe Rittberger from the Department of Political Science at the University of Oklahoma. We also have a postdoctoral scientist that's joined us, Dr. Jordan Christian. And in year one, we were able to hire 4 graduate students and get them started on the project. We look forward to adding several more here towards the end of 2021 that really expands into 2022 and the year 2 aspects of our work. From the perspective of progress, we're going to focus on process because that's really where most of the effort has been in year 1, is to really understand the processes associated with some of these different S2S types of events in the state of Oklahoma. You'll hear shortly from Brownie Puxley, who's a graduate research assistant, and she's looking at precipitation transitions, wet to dry, dry to wet, and the impacts of those processes. Alyssa Woodward is working on the 2020 ice storm, significant event, and you'll see a little bit of her work associated with the case study here later on as part of this conference. Ali Millen is working on the predictability and drivers of sort of cold snaps in the Great Plains, very important from our lessons learned this year. Taylor Grace is looking at the opposite side of that, heat waves in the Southern Great Plains, and overall patterns and trends associated with those types of events. Dr. Jordan Christian, I mentioned, joined us after completing his PhD in late 2020. He works on flash drought dynamics and has developed methodologies to look at flash drought from local to global. As part of this year 1 progress has already demonstrated that you could use satellite remote sensing data to not only understand flash drought dynamics, but to look at the impacts of the land surface characteristics. And we'll be continuing this work into the future. And as we look from year 1 to year 2, and we make that transition, really we're going to start the transition a little bit more from process to predictability and impacts. Now, we have already started to get our feet wet in the predictability and impacts, but there'll be more intentionality in terms of moving in that direction as we understand the basic processes that lead to these types of S2S development. And part of the year 2 activities will be to build and release the version 1 of the S2S event database. So all of these different aspects of study that have been started so far have really allowed us to catalog a series of S2S events that we believe are important for the rest of the overall project. And so we will continue to do that and then release that in sort of a formal way for the rest of the team. But the other part of this is really to start working across those transdisciplinary boundaries and continue the work that's already been done and already been started, and really understand how S2S extreme events and impact societal sectors in the region, and really understand from a predictability standpoint, even if we could predict these events, how relevant is that to some of the other complex issues that are going on? And so this will be our movement from process to predictability and impacts as we move into year 2.